Okay, guys, the world is getting a little insane. We know, like, everything is at an all-time high when it comes to just price of housing, price of everything, groceries, gas, pretty much anything you can think of is just fucking expensive. And I always have a little laugh. Now, anybody who knows me, they know I'm a fucking bro Jogan here. I'm one of those guys that's a big fan of Joe Rogan and his podcast, so I can't hide that. I mean, not like I hide it. I mean, I openly fucking talk about it all the time. I think it's a very well done podcast, and you know, it was one of the podcasts that inspired me to kind of take the dive into this whole industry. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna like suck his wiener on everything. Like, there's some people that I know, maybe some ex girlfriends, we'll say, that think I tend to do that a lot too, and they're like, "Oh, you if he'd piss on the floor, you'd lick it up." And I'm like, "No, that's fucking disgusting." Um, I do I will say that I think a lot of stuff he says is true and it's good, but there are some certain things where I'm like, "Holy fuck!" Like, I don't think he fully understands. I hate to use this word, but his privilege. Ugh. God, that just sounded gross saying that. But, there's that whole, he's a big health guy, right? He does all this health stuff. And it's funny because he had a guy on there a couple weeks ago where he's talking about, or maybe last week, it was the guy that healed Dana White. He got him on this big fucking diet and exercise and pills, and he miraculously healed him, which was awesome. It's really good. But I always like when they talk about this, like, ice bath, right? He's big on the ice bath and the sauna, and he used to always push the sensory deprivation tank. And to me, it's always just too much. There's just too much stuff. It's like, oh, so in my house, I gotta have a fucking gym, which is expensive as shit. I gotta have this ice bath, and how much is that ice bath? Oh, it's like some of them are like $100,000. I mean, you could get like a cheap one, but it's fucking inflatable. It's like $5,000, but it's bullshit. Like, all, I mean, you could probably get one for like $1,000, but they're bullshit. But then they'll go on to say like, oh, well, it's so easy though. You could just fill up a fucking bathtub full of ice and just sit in it. It's like, motherfucker, do you know how much ice it would take to fill up a goddamn bathtub? What am I gonna do? Fill up ice cube trays for a year? For one bath? Or am I gonna go to the store where ice, like a pack of ice, is like, it used to be $2.50. It's probably $5 now, and you need a few of those. You need 4 or 5 of those to, get the coldness of a bath. And it's like like him and his buddies on there will always be, it's doable, it's doable, it's always doable. It's like, no, it's fucking not. And that's the one problem I always have with all these celebrities that are health nuts, is that they don't understand. And I will say, first of all, yes, they are disciplined. Like, Joe's very disciplined. Obviously, he has the workout routine. Gotta respect it. I get it. But let me tell you, it's different. It is. When you work a 9 to 5, it's fucking different. When you have kids, it's different. Now, I know he has kids. I get it. But it's different when you're average Joe. When you got fucking the infinite money hack, yeah, it's not so bad. Because you grow in your own time. You work on your own time. You do shit on your own time. So it doesn't matter. That's the thing that I feel like a lot of these people, I mean they have good intentions, don't get me wrong. They have good intentions to try to get people healthy, but they don't understand their own privilege and their own, like, they don't understand how much money helps them. Because yeah, when you have an ice bath at home, that's $100,000, and a sauna that's $100,000, and a home gym that's probably $1 million. When you have all the stuff available to you at home, you just wake up and you walk over to your garage or whatever. Is I think he has like his own separate. It's like a house. It's like a warehouse basically. It's just where where he works out. But it's like, that's easier, and you don't got to be at work at 8 a.m. Your job is to work out in the morning. That's what you do. That's fine. But for regular average Joes, you would have to wake up in the morning, and you'd have to go and drive to the gym. Like, and let alone, when the fuck do you have time to, like, have an ice bath or do anything like that. It's just, I again, I understand it's a healthy thing, and I understand people think it's healthy, and that's great. But it's just, I feel like they lose touch with a lot of those people lose touch with the average person, because they don't understand the money barrier. They don't understand that, and again, they'll say, "Well, it's still possible." It's like, yeah, it's possible, but the amount of extra effort would be absolutely insane, and you'd be spending like a ridiculous amount of money on ice and stuff like that. You know, it just, I don't know. It never sat well. It never sat well with me. And again, I understand it's it is doable, and I understand it's healthy stuff. And there's research, behind the heat shock proteins and the cold shock proteins. Totally get it. Totally get it. But it's just it always makes me laugh a little bit when they talk about, how, well, everybody could do it and everybody should have it. It's like, no, motherfucker, no, they can't. I'm like, you have to, not only would you have to have all your time to yourself, but you'd also have to have like all the resources to have those things. And they're just like, for something that's going to give you a minor health benefit, because that's essentially what it is. It's, it's maybe it's significant, but it's not that significant, like an ice bath, for example. But I'm not going to spend $100,000 on one for a marginal, health increase. Same with a sauna. It's just not in the cards for most people. So it just always rubbed me the wrong way when all those people kind of have all that thing and just do this. It's real simple to be healthy. It's like, well, not so simple when you don't have money, guys. I think it's just something you gotta think about. Welcome, everybody, back to Norwich Just Bored, episode number 96. That was the longest intro I think I've ever recorded. That was like 7 minutes long. And I was just ranting about rich people problems, which is just actually poor people problems, but it's rich people that don't understand what's going on. Point of personal privilege. But yeah, again, guys, it is totally cool, and I understand I understand all his health benefits, but it's it's just not doable for the average person. So I don't know. I just always find it funny when they talk about it, and they talk about how easy it is. It's like, it's so easy. You just buy $100,000 ice tub. You're good to go. Let's go. Or you know what those guys could do? They could just live in Canada with us. I mean, you have to be okay with communism, obviously, as we've learned in the past few years. But small price to pay for those free cold shock proteins in the winter. You go outside, you just, sit outside without your shirt for 5 minutes. There you go. There's your ice bath. Unfortunately, we can't do grounding. We can't do our grounding because, unless you auger to the ground, then your feet are going to be real cold digging into that frozen earth. And I don't even know if it works when it's not warm out. But either way, guys, I had to give Joe the gears there a little bit because while I love him and I love not everything he does, but I love a lot of stuff he does, I think there is that kind of out of touch nature when it comes to some of those health things. But I do agree with working out and taking your vitamins, kids. That's what you got to do. It's important. That's what I do. And it's not too expensive. And as far as working out, you don't have to go to a gym. You can just do body weight shit at home and works pretty good. I've been kind of doing a core exercise routine lately because I've been having really bad back problems. I think I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, maybe, or last week. But I've been having really bad lower back pains. It's been killing me. And I've been in, I guess you'd say, chronic pain for quite a while right now. But I'm working on it now. I'm doing like planks and bridges. What's the other one? It's like pigeon pose or something. There's a few like yoga type, or yogurt as I call it, a few yogurt poses to do, and it's all about building your core. And I think that's what the root cause of my lower back pain is, I mean, being a fucking fat piece of shit probably doesn't help, but I'm working on that too at the same time, which is nice. But it's it's a mixture of that and also just I don't really work out my core. It's just one of those things you don't think about. There's crunches and stuff you could do and sit ups, but that's only so many of the muscles, and even then, it's like, how often do you do that? I my workout routine for a lot of it was just walking and running and stuff like that, which is great, but you don't actually activate those core muscles all that much. But when you're doing like planks and you're forced to crunch your muscles in the middle, you really feel it. Like after the first day, I'm about a week in now, and after the first day, I remember like my whole abs was just burning. My six pack was just burning. Okay, don't call me out like that, you piece of shit. All right, I know it's not a six pack, and I heard you. Just so you know, gonna kill you now. Just kidding. But I know somebody who was listening that knows me. They're like, "Fuck you, motherfucker! You ain't got no six pack. That's a keg." Either way, there's a couple of things I want to talk about today. There's good God. So there's this guy on YouTube. His name's Mike Klum, and he made a documentary on Boogie 2988. So if you guys don't know who Boogie is, I'll just give you like a quick kind of rundown of who he is. He was like basically back in the day, the early days of YouTube. He's one of the earliest YouTubers. And he was very wholesome at the time. He did a couple of random characters and stuff. Like he did a character called Francis, which is like an angry gamer nerd type deal, where he's he was just like a weird, like he talked like Eric Cartman kind of, and he just kind of made rage videos, but then behind that he was kind of like the good guy of the internet. That's kind of how he sold himself. And sorry, I'm a little stuffed up. I was fucking sneezing up literally before I started the podcast. I was just sneezing up a storm. But either way, he was kind of this good guy of YouTube, and that's how he always sold himself. But in the recent years, since like 2017, something like that, he's kind of gotten a little crazy, and he kind of showed his true dark side, and he kind of was people started to lose faith in him and realize he's not as good of a guy as he would make us believe. And he turned into kind of a lol cow in a way, like just kind of a person that everybody laughs at, right? And he basically did anything for attention at that point, and sympathy mostly. But he was always kind of that cucky type guy that would like to, beg people for attention and, oh, don't hate me, I'm so sweet. And now he's like using his disabilities and stuff, like, because he's morbidly obese, if you remember. Like he was morbidly obese, and now he has lost weight surprisingly, but he's still not great. He's still he's still up there. but either way, it's just kind of a sad life that he lives, being very pathetic and a dickhead. But there's this whole documentary, and I do recommend you guys watch it if you like kind of those interesting, like, holy fuck documentaries. But it's basically a look into his life right now and how it's kind of spiraled out of control, and he's got like no money now, and it just kind of he shows his true colors in it too. He shows just how he's like kind of a jerk, and he's like mad that he doesn't have any money now, and he's basically doing anything he can to not get a normal job, and he thinks he's too good for a normal job, which is really sad, because like people like me that work a normal job, we're like, shut the hell up. Like, what even, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, there's one part where he even talks about how I think he goes to the high school he graduated from or something, and he's like 500 kids graduate here. Little did they know one of them would be, I can't remember what the hell his real name is. What is Boogie's real name? I don't know. Can't remember right now. But yeah, it's like yeah, he's just like talking about how he's like, yeah, this, I think it's Steven something, but he's like, Steven would go on to be one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, and like just trying to prop himself up. And it's like, the reality is, it's weird because his channel still does get views, not as much as he used to, but it still gets some views. But it's just really, it's just a really sad situation. And a lot of people don't know, but I think he's 49 and he's dating like a 20-year-old, and she's in the documentary too. And her father abandoned her, and her mom, maybe her mom's dead, I can't remember. But like basically you could tell she's just like manipulated. She's so manipulated to being with him. And there's this one scene where she's like crying because she doesn't want to lose him. And then literally the next scene after, he's sitting on his phone with her, and he's just showing her. He's like, this is all the diseases I have. This is all my morbidities or whatever. These are all things that I'm dying of, and everything that's wrong with me. And he's like, this is how seriously wrong. Like, just really setting it home to this poor girl. Like, yeah, hey, I'm going to probably die soon on you. Like, it really cringed me out. And I just think it's not fair to that girl, and I really hope she does come to her senses and gets away from him, because it's so, he's just a creepy dude. And he's talked openly about spending a lot of money on hookers, and there's an interview with one of the hookers, I believe, on there where he spent like, God, how much money was it? I want to say it was like 20 grand or something he spent on her. And not just just fucking her. I'm sure he did that. But like just presents. He took her to like a hotel, and I think he took her to Disneyland actually. But it was nuts. It was nuts. He did all this like for a hooker, for an escort. And it blows my mind. And then like there's this poor like little 20-year-old girl, and like she's just with this degenerate guy. And it's, yeah, like she's got her whole life ahead of her. She really should come to her senses and get the fuck away from him, because it's gross. It's gross, and it just makes me sad, because he's manipulated her, because kids are idiots, and they met and I think started dating when she was 18 and he was like 47. So she's like, when you're that young, you are dumb. You think you're smart, but you're not. I mean, we all went through that phase, I'm sure. But it's just one of those things. You think you're smarter than you are, and you're really not. You're a fucking dumb kid. And you could tell she's just fully manipulated, and she's bought into his sap story. And a lot of people think she's a gold digger, that's kind of thing. But the reality is, like, he doesn't have any money. He goes to great lengths to talk in this documentary about how he doesn't have money anymore. He's like, I have to sell collectibles to make my rent, and it's real sad. It's real sad, because the problem with Boogie, and I think uh, it was, who was it? Kaya. I think it was Kaya from the official podcast, um, and the Criminally Stupid podcast. I think he said it best where he said Boogie would have a very successful career if he just shut the fuck up. If he just shut the fuck up, he'd be so successful right now. And that is the truth, because the reason he gets screwed over all the time is because he overshares on the internet. And he never understood that, hey, don't fucking talk about that shit on the internet, because people are going to hear it. Like, it's not private. The internet's not private, dude. As soon as you put something out there, it's out there. And it's out there forever. So, like it really, and it bugs me too because it goes back to the whole. It goes back to the whole. I haven't talked about this in a long time, but I think the last time we talked about it on here was when we were talking about the cheaters. I think it was the guy that cheated Fortnite and got caught. Well, he got caught because he was making a video about cheating. That was oh shit, who was that again? Okay, I gotta look that up. It's gonna bug me. Fortnite video cheating. Streamer, who was that? Who was that? Tfue, right? Yeah, I think it was Tfue. Right? Hold on. For cheating. Was it Tfue? I don't know, guys. I'm not gonna spend any more money looking at it. But it was that guy that it was the guy that was a streamer and he made a video showing off hacks. Like he wasn't trying to, in his defense, which I defended at the time, he wasn't trying to, you know, say hacks, like try to hide hacks. And I'm just as good. He did a YouTube video with hacks showing what hacks could do. That's so he was trying to make like a showcase of it so people are aware of it, which I understand. But the problem is, it's like, dude, just, you know, you just literally recorded yourself cheating in a game. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter the reasons. You're still cheating. And it's a bannable offense. So he lost everything. He lost his whole fucking streaming platform. He lost his ability to play the game that he made money off of. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is just because people like Boogie and people like that guy, it's like they had it made. You have the dream job of so many people. There's so many people that want that job, like young people and even me. I would love that. I would love to just be a content creator on the internet. It would be awesome. I would love it. Has it happened yet? Maybe it'll happen in the future. I don't know. But till then, I got to keep grinding. Got to keep grinding. But my point is, it's a slap in the face to people like me who, we're trying to grind. We're trying to put in the work as much as we can, working a full-time job already. Meanwhile, you got these guys and they haven't made and they fuck it up. Like it actually makes me angry because they could be fine if they just keep their shit together and shut the hell up on the internet. Like in that streamer's case, that was just ridiculous. Like what the fuck did you think was gonna happen? You record yourself cheating, you dumb Canuck. Like he was American, I think, but I just like saying dumb Canuck. But I don't. It didn't make sense. So my point is, if you've made it and you're up there, you've made it, you literally make money just uploading videos on the internet. Like that's the dream. That's a dream. It's awesome. I'm not saying it's not a lot of work, because it's definitely a lot of work, but still, that's a dream. You're making your own future. You're your own business owner. Technically it becomes a business. It's your own business, and you make your own hours. Then you can be Joe Rogan with your ice tank and stuff. You can get your ice tank and all your dream stuff. You can work out whenever you want because you can make your own schedule. Like I said, guys, it's the dream, but it's like you get these guys and they fucking throw it away. And the funny thing is, like, the way back to Boogie, the way he talks about himself in this documentary, especially to his girlfriend, this poor fucking, again, 20-year-old, he talks like he's already dead. And like she's literally crying into one video saying like, I don't want to lose him. And it's like, Jesus Christ, Boogie, you want to just like, and I understand he's trying, I know what he's doing because he's a fucking manipulator. He's trying to like manipulate her. He's doing the whole like, oh, I'm probably going to die soon, but that's okay because I'm tough and you'll get over me. But he wants that response. He wants that response from her so bad. He wants a response of like, no, please don't die, Oni-chan. Boogie. Boogie-kun. I could not live without you. Like, that's what he wants. And it's just, I don't know. While this documentary was entertaining, and again, congrats to Mike Klum. He's only got 132,000 subscribers. I think he deserves a lot more because this is a good doc. Again, sad as shit, but very well made for an amateur documentary. Like I think it's probably just one guy. Maybe he had a couple cameramen. I don't even know, but you know, it's well made either way. But I recommend you guys check it out. If you, it's 55 minutes long. So if you got an hour of your time and you just want to see something depressing but kind of hilarious, check out Mike Klum's documentary. It's called The Dark, Sad Life of Boogie 2988. And I just gave it a like on YouTube because I forgot to like it. Because I do like it, god damn it. Okay. Well, now that that's over, there's one last thing, and this actually surprisingly makes me sadder. If you can believe that. But there's a guy that I've been following for years, and I enjoy his content. His name's Gerard Khalil. Most people know him as the Completionist. So he does a yearly he does a yearly stream, I believe it's yearly, where he raises money for a charity called the Open Hand Foundation. Okay? And it says right here, yeah. The Open Hand Foundation was founded by the completionist father, Charles Khalil, in memory of his wife, Karen. It's Karen with two A's. So I don't know if that's Karen. Maybe it's Karen. Karen Khalil sounds fucking badass. Either way, it was Gerard's mother who passed away. Okay, so she passed away of, I believe it was dementia. And so they created this charity called the Open Hand Charity, the Open Hand Foundation, and it's to fight dementia and similar diseases, right? So it's wholesome. You know, they did it in memory of his mother, and as of 2014, I believe it was, Gerard is now I think he's the CEO, I believe. I believe that's what he is now. I don't want to speak out of turn here. I don't know. Either way. But what happened is that they would do this every year, right? And they would always get charity donations, and they've raised over $600,000 for charity. I think the number here says $655,520 since it was started. And that's based off the public tax filings. So basically let me just run down what happened. What happened was Some Ordinary Gamers, Mudahar from Some Ordinary Gamers teamed up with Carl Jobst, who is the very you guys probably know that name if you watch this podcast, because I talk about him quite a bit, because I love his content. He mostly does speedrunning content, and he kind of does like controversies too within YouTube and stuff like that. He covers, like, he's most famously he's covering the Billy Mitchell cheating scandal, which I talked about on here, and he's getting sued by Billy, and that's almost coming to an end, which is cool. But either way, there's this whole thing that's come to their attention, and they've been investigating it together, Carl and Mudahar, about how this charity, since its inception, has not actually donated any of its money to charity. It's been operating since 2003, and then it was registered as a non-profit organization in 2014. And if you look at the tax filings, like, I would suggest you watch Carl's video if you're interested, and If you're really interested, watch Mudahar's video on Some Ordinary Gamers because it's quite a bit longer, but it's got more of the phone call on it, which we'll get into that in a minute. But like Carl's video is like the Cliff Notes version. It's really nice and digestible if you just want a quick update on this. But basically, when you look at the tax filings, they absorbed all the money every year, and there was deductions for operating expenses, which was, you know, I'm assuming running the stream, right? Like running the stream, getting people over, getting money, getting food rather, and just setting up the stream, setting up all that kind of stuff for the charity. And so the operating, which they're still like, I think the operating expenses were usually like 10, 11 grand sometimes, which is kind of crazy. Like, I don't know how you have that much expenses for a charity stream, but I don't know. Either way, I'm just giving you guys the information, but they had all that, but none of it was actually donated anywhere. And in the video call, because Mudahar and Carl actually talked to Gerard, and in the call, Gerard said, I wasn't aware that he's like, I just assumed that the funds were going where they needed to go. He's like, I didn't know until 2000. He was like, I wasn't aware of this until 2022. And yeah, I'll just read this verbatim right here. This is in quotes. This is Gerard. It says, I knew the money, in quotation. So he's talking about the money. I knew the money was sitting there at a certain point, and that's what made me proactively go about it. The speaker. Okay, that's what allegedly the completionist said. They're just saying that as legalese. This is an excerpt from the Skype call or Discord call, I think. I was made aware of it. Yeah, this is what I was saying. I was made aware of it in 2021 that the money hadn't moved yet. And that's what made me go, that's not fucking cool. And that's when I got personally involved to move it and not to, what? To personally involved to move it and not to. Oh, okay. He's saying not 2021, last year, 2022. I guess he's saying like he started moving it last year. I don't know. But either way, it's still, the reason everybody's concerned about it is that there's some inconsistencies, right? I mean, if he learned about it in 21 or 22, it doesn't matter. It's 23 and the money still hasn't been donated to anything. It's sitting in an account. And now in Gerard's defense, it hasn't been used, and he talks about this too. It hasn't been used on anything. It's still in that account as far as I know, but still, it's a little fucking shady that it hasn't been donated, because it's supposed to be donated every year after the charity stream to where it's going, and then it's supposed to. And after, like, if he knew in 2022, why is it still in that account? Why hasn't it moved? It's 2023. Doesn't make sense. And yeah, he went on to say, I assumed that it was all going to a charity, and I assumed incorrectly. Despite this, the completion, or I'm not going to read that part. That's just them talking about it. But that's the quote that gets me, though. I assumed. What do you mean you assumed? Like, that's really weird. I assumed. And for 10 years, you're the leader of, like, well, I mean, it's 2023. He was the leader, I think, in 2014 he took over. It became a nonprofit, and I think he became the helm of it. But like, it's 9 years since you've been involved, and you just assumed the whole time. Like there's a certain point where, like, again, I love the Completionist. I love his content. And he's one of the wholesome guys that I always thought he was so cool. But there's only so much rose-colored goggles, and there's only so much leeway you can give somebody. Like 10 years of assuming, it's weird, especially if you learned in 21. But then 22 and 23, it's still the same. It hasn't changed. And what really gets me is in the video, in the 22 stream and the 23 stream, he was still talking about how, oh, this money goes to this institute and this institute and this place. He talks where the money is going to get donated, but he never knows that it's getting donated. So that makes it weird for me. If he says it's going to the Alzheimer's Association, but he doesn't know that for sure, especially after 21, where he learned, or 22, if that's what he thinks it was, why would he say he knows, oh, it goes to support this fund and that fund? It's like, well, you don't know that because it hasn't been going there. So I don't know. It's just, it just doesn't make sense to me. And to me, it really looks like charity fraud. It really does. And I don't know. I don't want to believe that this is a dark thing. Like, I don't want to believe that this was done with ill intent. Because again, Gerard is a very wholesome person. To me, in my eyes. But, I mean, when you look at the evidence, though, it's not good. It doesn't look good for him. And it really makes me sad because he was one of my, I don't want to say my childhood because he's not part of my childhood. None of YouTube was in my childhood, but in my 20s, there was a bunch of YouTubers that I regularly watched that I really loved. And like, there was like the Completionist and like all the normal boots guys, like Peanut Butter Gamer, John Tron, uh, Pro Jared, and then there was like, the real classic guys like AVGN, all that stuff. It's like, this is, in a way, this is like finding out like Markiplier is a fucking asshole, It's just weird to me because like if a scam came out that like Markiplier was like a dickhead or something, or a pedophile or something, like something crazy like that, like I wouldn't be able to believe it, because when I think of people like Mark Fishbach and even Jacksepticeye to a degree, and Gerard, I look at them as wholesome, good guys. But, then again, we were just talking about Boogie, right? And how, Boogie used to be viewed by everybody as a wholesome guy. And, now he's one of the most hated people on the internet. So I guess it goes to show that you never really truly know these people. So it is sad. I really hope it's not true. I really hope it's just like an oversight, really shitty oversight. Like I said, to not notice for 10 years. Like, I don't know how the SSC or what the hell they called the IRS or whoever handles that. I don't know how they didn't look into it, because according to some people with charitable organizations, you have to tell them, like, you have to say where it's being donated, because you're a nonprofit, so you don't get taxed, and your tax filings they're public. Like, I don't know. I don't know how it goes. I don't know if they get like cheaper taxes or if they don't get taxed in America. I don't know how it works in America, but I know they either don't pay taxes or they don't pay a lot, but they do still have to, report their income and stuff for it. And one of the rules of nonprofits is that it has to be public. And that's how this all started. That's how this came about, is it was in the public eye. Because you can look up any, like, I can go right now on the American IRS, and I can look up Open Hand Foundation and their tax, or go to their website, find their tax code, and look them up, and I can look at all their tax receipts, like all their tax returns for all the years or whatnot. I don't know if they're called tax returns, but the tax documentation will say. I could look at it all if I wanted to. And that's how this all kind of started. I'm guessing somebody, I don't know who started the fire here, but Carl and Mudahar are the ones that are kind of spearheading it now and looking into it. But yeah, basically somebody looked at the tax documentation for this whole thing and were like, this looks a little fishy. But I wanted to play this one part here before I end this. I just wanted to play this one. This is a part of Mudahar's video. The video is called "The Completionist Charity Has Been Lying to You for Years," and it's his video. But I just wanted to play the one part from their video call. Now this is Mudahar and Carl in a Skype Discord call, rather. I believe it's Discord. That's what it looks like with the bubbles. But they're a Discord call with Gerard, and they're talking to him about this whole thing. And this is just one excerpt where I felt like Gerard rubbed me the wrong way, and it didn't sit with me right, and it made me think that he was kind of guilty. So I'll just play a short clip and let you guys listen to it.
Now, me and Carl actually started a conversation with Gerard to get his side of the story, and he confirms that the money is still sitting in the account.
To answer your question, Carl, I don't have an answer. I think that's my fuck up. I have personally donated to AFTD and Alzheimer's Association over the years, and that's where, again, I assumed the money was going there to support them as we were talking negotiations about working with them. I don't really have a true answer for that, and that's on me completely, and I will own up to that. But, again, it doesn't fucking matter. You guys are going to say what you're going to say, and I can't stop it. But the important thing is that all the money is still in the account. None of it's spent erroneously. It's all above board. Like it's not hiding in a Cayman account or anything like that. Yeah, and that's the thing about 501Cs is that, like, if I did any of that, the minute I did any malpractice of that nature, literally the government would be like, hey, we're coming after you. And that's, right. At least legally speaking, everything's above board. And I understand that the question isn't so much legality and so much more about morality in, me advertising this event and showing people sponsors and all that stuff.
Now, I think it's quite interesting to almost make it sound like this is about to be some crazy drama story, when in reality, this isn't some tabloid journalism we go for. I kind of find a weird insinuation of that a little bit insulting for me and my colleagues like Carl, people like CoffeeZilla, people like Barely Sociable, who do deep dives and investigative pieces on situations like this.
I guess what I'm asking you guys is, what do you want me to do as soon as possible? If it's like, hey, Gerard, we want you to shut up and take the L so we can make content, that's fine. If that's what you guys think is the way to go, to call it a scam, sure. But I'm not trying to scam anyone. I would never try and scam in honor of my mom. Like, this is, I would not be outward facing knowing that I can get raked through the coals for this.
This isn't drama. This is error.
Okay. So yeah, that was the part I wanted to show you guys. That was an excerpt from the video call with, a little bit of Mudahar in between, but it was the whole part where he said, if you guys want to call it a scam, like, I'll take the L. And that part really rubbed me the wrong way, because it made me think like, I don't think he gives a fuck about what's going on, like the whole charity thing. I think, like, when he says take the L, that's like public image, right? He's trying to defend he's trying to say it just seems like all he cares about is his public image, which is like, oh fuck, maybe he is just a scammer. Maybe he's just a piece of shit underneath it all. Like, it really sucks. It's really unfortunate, but I still don't want to believe it, but I mean, the evidence is pretty damning. But I wanted you guys to know the context, and I wanted you guys to hear that excerpt, because I just thought that was the excerpt of the whole call that kind of made me be like, like, this is a little suspicious, because he basically kind of accused Carl and Mudahar of being like drama channels, which, sometimes Mudahar they kind of make, dramatic pieces in that sense, right? But Carl is not by any stretch of the imagination a drama person. Like, there's drama obviously with Billy Mitchell, but that's all on Billy. He's just defending himself. That's it. But either way, you guys could draw your own conclusions. I'm sure more stuff will come out about this, but I just want to say that it genuinely makes me sad because he was one of the people that I always looked up to, and he actually gave me inspiration for, you know, videos and stuff, like just doing YouTube in general. That's you know, he's just one of the guys that I always respected the way he did his videos, and his content was just really wholesome and fun. So it's just sad to see this come out. So uh, you know, hopefully he's just really stupid and not evil. What is it with that? One last point. What is it with all the fucking normal boots guys, you know, randomly having problems? I mean, Jodtron had his problem, but his problem was fucking just being conservative. That's all his problem was, which isn't even a problem. He just stirred up shit for the wokies, right? The people that were easily offended. So, which he never got canceled, thankfully. But you know, he had his whole controversy with the whole. I can't even remember what he said, but it was just literally. It was basically like having conservative values, which is really stupid that people came after him for that. But that's kind of how people are these days. And then Pro Jared, we all remember he had that whole fallout with his wife, that they got divorced, and then there was nudes. His nudes got leaked online of him jerking his dick, and it was a big fiasco. And he kind of got canceled for a little while, but then people people kind of came around after that though, because he didn't get fully canceled. He kind of made it come full circle. He's actually, and he's still doing content now and doing fairly well. So he did recover well from it, surprisingly. But I do think that one I think was a two-way street. And the reason I think that's a two-way street is because I asked his wife for like some evidence on Twitter. I talked to her about like how, because I can't remember exactly what it was at the time, but it was basically there's basically some post about her basically crying for attention for everybody. And I asked her for some proof about like what had happened and the cheating whole thing, the whole cheating thing. And I'm like, are you, you know, basically kind of grilling her in a way, being like, are you sure it was just, uh, are you sure it was just Jared and it wasn't both of you guys kind of screwing around being bad people? I'm like, or was it like, or was it just him? Like, I just asked a question essentially, but because there were some weird people being like, well, I don't think she was faithful either. So it's kind of a two wrong situation. But I just talked to her on Twitter about it, like asked her about it, and all I did was tweet at her. I just, you know, added her and just asked her a simple fucking question, and she ended up blocking me. And so, yeah, Heidler, what's her name? Atler Heidi Atler or something. I can't remember her name. She's pretty fucking unknown at this point because she's, you know, obviously I don't have a lot of respect for her because she fucking she blocked me for just asking a question. So I'm like, that's the kind of person you are. And again, I understand at the time that tensions were high and she was getting grilled a lot harder by other people. So she probably just didn't want to talk to anybody, to be honest. But I don't know. I've never thought that blocking people was the answer. Unless they're actually being aggressive and like won't leave you alone. That's when blocking is, you know, acceptable. But when it's one guy that just asks a simple question, and I didn't even ask it dickishly. I just asked it nice. I just said, like, I know there's allegations of Jared cheating, but I've heard there's also allegations against you. I'm like, is there any truth to this? And yeah, I just got blocked. So I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, block the small guy. I see how it is. But either way, I don't think she'll be on this podcast anytime soon. Even if this becomes the number one podcast, because screw her. Because this will get this dude. This podcast is gonna blow up. It's gonna be number one, at least in Canada for sure. And like I said, Atler Heidi, she's gonna be like, "Oh, Cody kun, can I show off my cosplay and come on to your podcast?" I'll be like, "You remember that guy that you blocked in like 2018 on Twitter?" "Oh, you mean Code Ban?" "You're goddamn right." that was me. And now you're not allowed on the #1 podcast in Canada. Fuck you. Sorry, guys. I just had to play that out in my head. Felt pretty good. That probably will never happen. Just, you know, I mean, #1 podcast in Canada, obviously that's going to happen. But, you know, Heidi wanted to be on this podcast? Probably not. But I'm just saying, if she does, no. Because you were a jerk. You're mean to me. Either way, guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. It was a little bit of a denser one this week, but it was a good one. I liked it. I had fun. Number 96 in the bag. We're almost to 100. I still don't know fully what I'm going to do for 100, but we're going to figure out something fun to do. You know, maybe bring back some old faces, some friendly guests. I don't know why I'm even laughing so much. It just feels right. It just feels good. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Love the evil laugh. Either way, I'm wasting your guys' time now. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it as always. Remember, links to all social media are in the description below, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys. Got the chat.